Hello there, friends. The table is set for our Sunday morning spread from Cards of Light, Bright Blessings of the Tarot for August 28th, 2022. Glad to be with you once again this week. Thank you for joining me. Let's go to the table for our 4-card energy reading. We'll give the cards a little shuffle here to get things started this morning. Last Sunday in August already. Boy, the time goes. Okay. Let's take just a moment as usual to kind of take a few breaths, get our minds quiet. All right. As usual, we will be looking at the 4 dimensions of life, starting with the spiritual. We have the 6 of Swords. Social emotional, we have the 8 of Swords. All swords all the time. Mental dimension, we have the Fool. And in the physical dimension, the Tower. Okay. We can get these kind of straightened up on the table here and take a moment to look at the overall spread before we get started. Okay, so 2 swords, both pip cards, and 2 majors over here on the left. Let's see what they might be trying to tell us. So the Tower. I've talked before about this being the most terrifying card in the deck for me, especially early on in my tarot journey. It is that lightning strike from above that we did not expect, that sets everything topsy-turvy and makes us begin again. And so in the physical dimension of our lives, which is the dimension that has to do with material things, with our physical health, with our finances, our physical environment, that sort of thing, we may be looking at something coming along and upsetting the apple cart sometime this week. Something unexpected that really would be difficult to anticipate, that makes us kind of question all of our tacit assumptions about the way that our lives proceed. So this card sometimes can just be a sudden burst of energy of some sort. So the only thing that we can do in a situation like that is get grounded enough in our deepest selves that we know what our values are and that we can respond to whatever happens based on our truest values and the things that are most important in life. And so whether this is an unexpected health issue of some kind, or whether it is something that changes with finances, or whatever, something going on in the physical realm of our lives, so in the material realm, in the earthly realm, we are just going to need to be limber and roll with the punches. This card can also kind of be, it's like the hard reset. It's like rebooting everything, getting back down to earth with the characters tumbling from the tower. So getting back to basics. The pandemic was sort of a tower moment for, I think, almost everyone worldwide, where all of a sudden the things that we took for granted and just assumed would always be the way they were all of a sudden we had to think about, okay, how do we do our grocery shopping? How do we work? How do we, all of the things that how do we go to worship? Those sorts of things. What do we do in a situation where everything all of a sudden changes just in a heartbeat. And so I'm not expecting that to be, something of this magnitude. And my intuition tells me that that is, in fact, not the case with this card turning up this morning. But whatever it is, it may be a little bit of a shock and a little bit of cold water getting thrown on us all of a sudden and having to kind of wake up and be attentive and think about things we may not have had. We may have been on automatic pilot, and this is sort of a jolt to get us out of that. And so we'll see what happens there. I'd be interested to hear if there are any tower moments for anybody in the coming week. Okay. 8 of Swords in the social emotional dimension. And this card has come up very recently. Again, I can't remember if it was Thursday of this week or if it was last Sunday, but it's been fairly recently. Crowley styles at interference. I think of this as the card of being so blinded by our perception of things that we can't see how truly liberated we are. It can also be some sort of test or initiation in some cases. The idea here is that we have more agency, we have more ability in our lives than what we think. And so if we're feeling a sense of being hemmed in this interference in our lives in the coming week, in the social and emotional dimension of our lives, so relationships, how we're feeling, that sort of thing, we need to just step back, take a little breath, and realize that we do have choices. We do. Every moment is a new moment and is a new choice for us. And that we are really incredibly powerful beyond our own ability to even imagine. And so if we look for the solutions, that they will be there, but we may feel some frustration because of the sense of being hemmed in. Okay, up here in the mental dimension, we have the Fool. Take that leap. This is the card of the free spirit. So if our minds have got us sort of hemmed in and expecting certain things, and all of a sudden everything gets thrown up in the air, or we kind of don't know which way to turn because of the stuff that's going on over here. What the Fool tells us is, just take that leap of faith. If there is something that our hearts are appealing to us to do, then that's the direction that we should go. And the net will be there, even when we may not see how that is possible. If we have a really strong impulse, particularly an impulse toward freedom, toward taking a chance, then we should do that. In the mental dimension of our lives, this could be about the neural pathways that we develop out of habit. Think about cattle going out to pasture and how they might not be being directed. There are no traffic cops or anything like that, but they wear a path and they stay on that path, pretty much going out and coming back in. That's why it gets worn down into a path. And our brains are like that. We create these habitual ways of thinking. We maybe drive where we're going. We've got a destination that we go to a lot. We probably, most of the time, we're going to take the same route every single time. It's just something that we do. We take the unknown out of the equation. This tells us to kind of, maybe it's time to regroup. Maybe it's time to try something new, try a new mental discipline, read something that would maybe be uncharacteristic for us, study something new, maybe something that we've kind of always wanted to get around to, but just haven't had the time or didn't think it was practical. Now's the time this coming week to take that leap. And with school beginning across the United States for a lot of people, maybe this is resonating. If you are enrolling in classes and there's something that appeals, but you're going, it doesn't seem very practical. You know what? Life is short. Go ahead and take that leap of faith, and see what comes of it. You can always go back to the practical stuff later on. Bad advice from a guy who isn't very practical a lot of times here, but I'm still alive at almost 65. Okay, we've got the Six of Swords in the spiritual dimension. This is the card of, Crowley styles it, science. This is the card of a balanced, logical, informed approach to things. It can also be a card of departures, a card of travel over water. And I'm kind of getting the sense that maybe this is a journey for someone that will be helpful to their spiritual health. I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. If that's you, let me know. But overall, this tells us to take a balanced, methodical approach in our spiritual life in the coming week. So as opposed to in the mental dimension, we've got the Fool, which says, hey, be a free spirit, try something new. Over here, we've got advice that says, let's kind of take it methodically. Let's stick with what's tried and true and what we know works. This can also be the card of leaving for good, leaving something behind for good, and setting out for new frontiers of some sort. And so in the spiritual dimension, it's sort of a paradoxical message that I'm getting from this card. One is stay balanced, stay with what's tried and true. And on the other hand, it's saying what has worked for you before, what you've been used to, you have got to leave now. You're a refugee heading to a new world. But you have a lot of support to do that. So this is also a signal that something is going to jar us out of what we're used to. We're going to feel like we don't have a lot of agency or a lot of control over what's going on. We need to take that leap of faith. But where we're headed is something very balanced and beautiful and healthy and good for us. That is the way that I would read these four. I'm just looking at the table one last time to see if there's anything that is jumping out at me in this story. I don't think so. I'd like to hear what you think. If you're a reader and would see these cards differently, there may be something obvious that I'm missing. Lots of ambiguity and paradox in this spread this week. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you, or if this is resonating with you somehow in your life, or if you've got questions either about this spread or about the practice of throwing cards, let me know. You can leave comments here with the video or pop on out to the weblog at brightblessingstarot.com. Apologize for the fan noises and stuff in the background this week, but that's the way it goes sometimes. I plan to be back on Thursday for our 3-card Thursday reading. In the meantime, I wish you peace. Take care of yourself.